Hey, what's up, everybody? We got a fantastic question. Looks like this is from a hypnotist. It says, I'm interested in talking to anyone who does stop smoking in one session. I'm interested in learning a one session process. I currently work with a 4 session program for smoking cessation and another 1 session program for addictions, but I have people asking about only in one session as they see other people have 1 session programs. Okay, that's a fantastic question. So I want to make this as actionable as possible for you, some things you can start applying right away. But first, I want to take a step back and say, hey, good for you, right? You're saving your clients time. You're saving yourself time. You can scale in your clinic. There's tremendous value in thinking about, how to reduce time between sessions and things like that. So brilliant work right there already. I think with that mindset, of course, you're going to have tremendous progress because you can continually evolve. Yeah, I've done sessions in 22 minutes. I've done them in 45 minutes, 35 minutes. I've done a bunch in less than an hour. So fastest was 22 minutes, and that's including testing and everything. That little bit of idle chit chat in the beginning before you kick off. So that being said, one of the things I recommend, okay, so probably the most important things I started doing was testing whether or not certain things are absolutely essential for getting the result I want, right? Because I had this really robust protocol. I was training with everybody, taking different ideas, taking different pieces, playing with them. I started out like everybody. I just ran one protocol, and then until I got stuck. When I got stuck, I decided, hey, I need to learn more. But at least I had some real world experience and context, and so that's absolutely critical too, right? Real world experience and context. You want to make sure you're actually seeing clients. Then number two, testing what's absolutely critical. And then there's a bit of a paradox here that I think is super helpful for everybody. You don't want to think about, while you're in session with somebody, don't think about having to get a result within an hour or within 1 session or within 3 sessions. You want to alleviate any pressure you're putting on yourself to get a result, because that kind of switches you into like this mode of performance, and that'll block your instincts. And so the reason that's critical, it's actually probably the last thing I'll mention that's the most important, your instincts, right? Like you can learn every protocol on the planet, but there's a difference between performing a protocol in front of somebody and then, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? This stuff works. We have all kinds of best practices in the industry for a reason. But I think the superpower, right, is your unconscious mind and that person's unconscious mind. And Milton Erickson said very famously, right, like develop your own technique, right? So I think that's done by learning to get in touch with your instincts, your unconscious mind, learning how to understand what it's communicating to you, what it's showing you. And then being able to draw that client's attention on their own unconscious moments and experiences. When you do that, all this stuff just happens organically. It's beautiful. I could tell you, I've had sessions where people have hallucinated in front of me. One person hallucinated cutting resentment towards their ex-husband out of their body. This is a stop smoking session, right? I don't have a protocol for, hey, hallucinate cutting, resentment towards your ex-husband out of your body, right? And all these insights came up. Oh, he always holds against me to my kids that I smoke. Well, suddenly, once she removed that resentment, she saw that clearly. This tremendous motivation for her to never smoke again. I didn't tell her to think about any of that. Her unconscious mind created that experience for her. So this is how you can get things done, 22 minutes, 45 minutes, 35 minutes. I don't assume I have the answers that person needs, but I know they do at some level of awareness. I just want to help them experience that reality. That way they really have choice. So that's a kind of a different way of working, but these are just some ideas I think you could start to implement and kick around. And look, if that sounds a little bit out there, that's fine. It did to me too. But what I want you to do is kind of like Just now that even knowing that you're aware of it, your mind can start to sort of create a bridge if there's a gap anywhere there for you. So you're already doing something really powerful just by listening to me here. Um, those are the primary things. I don't want to shy you away from continuing your education. I think that's great. I like I said, I train with a ton of people. Um, I think it's best to find people that don't necessarily agree on everything. To the extent it doesn't confuse you to the point you're not taking action and seeing clients. That's the real learning, the taking action and seeing clients. But but if they have disparate opinions and if they disagree, your mind will find tenuous connections between where they overlap, or there's just it's such a rich context. It's a lot more for you to explore, and we all have a certain dogma about things, and our thinking can become very fixed and static. So I think being jarred by somebody that disagrees with how you currently look at things can be very helpful in that, right? Oh, that's another Milton Erickson quote, right? Didn't he say, until you let go of what you know can't get bigger and more powerful? Something like that. I'm sure I'm paraphrasing it. So I think learning from folks that disagree is to your advantage. And then just looking at your comment here in terms of like super actionable things for you. Number one, you have a 4-session protocol. Time is like a fixed entity, right? It just it is what it is, right? There's 24 hours in a day. So the only way to effectively reduce the amount of time in sessions is to take away certain things. And what I find very interesting about your comment is that you have a one session protocol for addictions. So I'm very curious, as you look at that 1-session protocol for addictions, maybe there's some stuff you could use from that to help people quit smoking. If it's effective, I would really consider that. What can you adapt from your 1-session protocol for addictions to help people quit smoking? And then when you're looking at your 4-session process, okay, well, what can you get rid of? And, the reality is a lot of this has to happen through testing. A lot of this has to happen through testing. I don't really believe in silver bullets. Your client, your client has the silver bullet, right? Your job is to help them find it. But from a protocol standpoint, I don't really think that way. Knowing all these different things is going to help you, though, because if, maybe just parts work shows up or hallucination shows up or regression happens spontaneously. And now you could just go into it, right? You don't have to sort of manufacture those things. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with manufacturing those things. Like it's powerful stuff, right? I think there's just some extra juice, a lot of extra juice if it happens organically. So that's pretty much all I have here, right? I guess I could point out, like, with the example I gave earlier, we're cutting out the resentment towards the husband from that example. I have just so many of these wild ones. These spontaneous phenomena is incredible. But what we're doing there is we're attacking the root cause, and then sort of the symptom, smoking, goes away, right? I always like to point this out because I think sometimes when I got started, I was so focused on, okay, I got to help him stop smoking. I got to help him stop smoking. But like, if there's some weird unconscious, like a lack of alignment underneath the surface, until we resolve that problem, the chances that these clients are actually staying smoke-free long-term, it's a bit in peril, right? We know that's not going to be always the case, but I think if we always solve that problem, our chances are better. So that's another thing. Like, what's underneath the surface that's driving this? Think about that person's behavior. Really try to understand that person's behavior. Why are they doing this? What's drawing them to this thing? It's incredibly powerful stuff. So listen, I really hope this helps. Comment below. Let me know what other questions you have. And if you're someone that, if you have questions about this stuff, please, by all means, add me on Facebook, message me. I get a handful of these a day. They're a blast to go over. And I just want to bring as much value and actionable stuff for you as possible. So Listen, have a fantastic day. Take care. I can't wait to hear about all the people you helped stop smoking. Take care.